Please, Scooby-Doo this crap.
Hello everybody, welcome to the newest episode of MAFF'S Movie Show. I'm your host, as always, President Joe Byron, and today, I'm going to talk about Spider-Man one last time, but also not really. So I've been doing this marathon over the past couple months, which is pretty insane how much time has gone by since I decided to start doing this. When I started making these Spider-Man marathon videos, it was Halloween, and now it's almost Christmas, and No Way Home releases this week. So we're going to do this video, and I'm going to make a review for Spider-Man No Way Home next week, and then I'm not going to be talking about Spider-Man on this channel. Well, I can't promise that, but I am trying to make a promise to myself to not talk about Spider-Man on this channel for a long time, and then get back to regular movie news and conversation about whatever's happening in the space on a weekly basis, as long as I can keep making these videos, because I've been having a good time so far. If you are, let me know down below, because it's been a crazy year. I started making these videos, like these new monthly, weekly, Monday videos, since late June. Today, let's predict the movie Spider-Man No Way Home. Just fun speculation, just getting into conjecture, nothing too serious. Like on Twitter, I go on Twitter every day, and it's a hellscape here. Like, I enjoy the MCU. Endgame felt like the ending of an era, and now we're just in this new space where we're trying to figure out and molding the clay and what audiences are wanting from these movies going into this new decade. And I'm looking forward to this, as I'm sure as many people are, because of the possibilities of these multiple generations of Spider-Man movies coming together for one movie, as we might see Tobey and Andrew and Tom together, which that's what everybody is hoping for, and hopefully if they aren't in the movie is still good regardless. But I thought it would be a cool idea to just kind of like get into the weeds a little bit, tiny bit, of what we're expecting from this movie. Now, for me, having watched the first two Tom Holland movies over again, I emotionally resonate more with the Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire movies. And I think just on a filmmaking technical level, on just the level of storytelling of the actual character of Spider-Man, they are of, in that regard, satisfying quality. When it comes to these new Tom Holland movies, it's a different iteration of the character, but I do feel like the inclusion of it being in the middle, thrusted in the middle of the world of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, because it came really late into the game, 2016 for Civil War, I just feel like a lot of like the storytelling aspects get bogged down by the MCU, and that's my opinion. The aspects I do like of the Tom Holland movies include the cast of characters. The villains have been great so far. Tom Holland, Zendaya, Jacob Batalon, like the three of them are incredible together as a friend group, and I think Zendaya and Tom Holland together, they're dating in real life now, really sweet, and I like what they're doing with them so far, and the growth of those characters in their relationship. There's a lot that just I don't resonate with, and it's just not for me, and maybe I'm just too old for it, it's a lot of reasons. So what are we going to get out of Spider-Man No Way Home? So we know the general plot is that it's the ending, continuing off of the ending from Far From Home, where everybody finds out that Peter Parker is Spider-Man because Jake Gyllenhaal's crew of sorts, I guess, got the video out there, unless Mysterio isn't dead, which that's part of my prediction there, that he's not dead. Now that his secret identity has been revealed to the world, he wants to go to Doctor Strange, who is part of the MCU, and wants to cast a spell that everybody forgets that he's Spider-Man. But apparently that would include everybody, so Peter Parker freaks out, and then something crazy happens in the mix, and this is how all the villains get unleashed. This movie's 2.5 hours, and I feel like a lot of, like, at least that first trailer, I think a lot of the beginning of the movie is the continuing from the last movie. The part with Doc Ock on the bridge, him hanging out with Doctor Strange, this is all probably like the first, I would assume, the first half hour of the movie. The Statue of Liberty scene that we keep seeing too has to be the ending of the movie. It just seems like it is, and I had no problem seeing the ending of the movie, but it seems like they're hiding a lot from that ending, including possibly Tobey and Andrew in the mix. But I'm wondering what the big bulk of this movie is. Why is this movie 2.5 hours long? Is Peter Parker, Spider-Man, going to go on this big multiversal journey with Doctor Strange, like we're seeing where he's running through the streets of Manhattan, and the mirror effect is happening like we saw in the first Doctor Strange, where the worlds are colliding, and like it feels like a giant kaleidoscope around Peter Parker while he's doing this? There's a part where he's running around in the inverse suit, and he looks frantic. There's a lot you could, like I see him, like, there's a lot being hidden. So I think that he's going to go on this giant journey where he kind of, I don't know if he recruits Toby and Andrew, or maybe he bumps into them. What's going to happen to the villains in this movie? Are they all going to perish? Are they all going to die? Or is Peter Parker going to do what, like, because it seems like he has a guilt complex about these villains being killed by Spider-Man in their universes, so he wants to help them. Does he end up getting that wish and being able to help them and setting them free, whether that means having them just vanish from the face of the earth and the multiverse forever, having them die, but in a peaceful way? Like, who's going to stick around? It looks like at some point, Dr. Octopus teams up with everybody on the good side because I don't know if Electro is hitting him, but somebody is attacking him on the bad side. We also don't know for sure whether or not these villains are being pulled out of the universes that we know them from, or if there are other versions of these characters, but with the same actors. And that's where I get worried about audience expectations, and especially people who aren't really well versed with the MCU, people who kind of like, back when Black Panther came out, it was a national phenomenon, world phenomenon. But people went to watch that movie having not seen any of the other Marvel movies. They wanted to see Black Panther represented on the big screen. So I wonder how many people who have probably seen the Tobey Maguire movies and the Andrew Garfield movies, or just have a general idea of Spider-Man, are going to go into this movie and may be super ultra confused and bogged down mentally by all the multiversal footwork that would have to be placed and all the exposition that's going to have to be explained because of everything. Like, well, actually, this is the same guy, you know. That's Alfred Molina as Doc Ock, but it's not really Alfred Molina as Doc Ock. Actually, this is a different Doc Ock from this universe, Universe C, where the Doc Ock that you knew from the Tobey Maguire movie was in Universe L. I do think, though, that Green Goblin's the main villain. I've heard that as much. And he will probably end up dying in this. Maybe even Doc Ock will end up dying, too, but like for a more sacrificial reason, kind of harkening back to Spider-Man 2. And I hope it's not done cheaply if that is happening, but we'll see what happens in the movie. I don't think that Electro and Sandman and Lizard are going to die in this. They're going to probably be sent back to their universes somehow, some way. I do think there's another villain here that we're missing. And part of me thinks that I don't think Michael Keaton is in this. I don't think they're going to bring in the Scorpion, who is in Homecoming for a brief second before he becomes Scorpion. I do think that Jake Gyllenhaal is making an appearance in this. I mean, if you want to go big picture, you can make the assumption that he's the one casting these illusions and has found a way to just really go all out with his production team and like make all this a giant illusion, which would feel like a giant cheap trick. So I don't think that's happening, but I do think that Jake Gyllenhaal's Quentin Beck Mysterio character is out there. Maybe he just had enough in him to fake his death in the moment in the last movie, and then someone picked him up afterwards. They'll explain it somehow, some way, but I think that Mysterio's not dead. I don't think he has a role to play in what's happening with the multiverse, but I do think that he is out there, and he is going to have a role to play once everything is happening, once the chess pieces are moving. He's going to find a way to insert himself into the situation and try to gain from it, but from a selfish point of view, not because he wants to help out these other villains. Everyone's talking about how the ending of the trailer, Zendaya is falling from the Statue of Liberty, and a lot of the rumors are saying that Andrew Garfield is going to catch her as kind of like a redemption moment for not being able to save his own girlfriend. That would be a cool moment, and there are some people who really think Zendaya is going to die. I don't think Zendaya is dying. They wouldn't have the cojones to do something like that, and it wouldn't really fit for this character, I don't think. They're probably, if they're going to do something like that, they'll probably save it for down the road for this next supposed trilogy of movies we're getting, apparently. But I do think somebody's going to die. So to give Peter Parker that chip on his shoulder, like that actual emotional heavy chip, would be amazing. At least if it's done right in the story. And I don't know, since Happy Hogan has been a big part of these movies, it could be Happy. Some people have been suggesting Aunt May. And if it's Aunt May, I just wish we had more time with her in these movies, because I don't feel like we've had enough time with them, with Peter and Aunt May together, to really feel anything. We will feel bad when it happens because it's Marissa Tomei and it's Aunt May. She's a crucial part of Peter Parker's life, because if you know Spider-Man, you just know that's just part of the deal. If they're trying to get a death that really hits the heart, that's probably the one to do. Quickly, in regard to Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire, do I think they're in this movie? Yeah, I do. It seems like all the trailers, all the marketing, they keep like tugging tiny little bits of it. Like, there's this movie's bigger than you imagine. Tom Holland saying this is just a tip of the iceberg with this trailer. Tom Holland just said in an interview recently that this feels like 3 generations coming together. It's literally the subtext is there. Like, it just seems like a weird thing that they wouldn't be in this. But how much are they going to be in it? My assumption was that they're going to come into it for the last part of the movie, but I think they're in it for longer than people expect. I think they're going to probably come in midway through the movie and have some scenes to just break it down and converse and hang out with our Tom Holland, Peter Parker, and to be able to get that catch up, that recap of what they've been up to since we've seen them in their movies, respectively. What happened with Toby after the dance with MJ? What happened to Andrew Garfield after he felt the emotions of losing Gwen Stacy and going back to becoming Spider-Man after having not been so for what seems like probably half a year? It just seems weird if you're going to bring them into this to bring them in last minute, like the end of Endgame, because with Endgame, all those characters were established over the past 10 years of Marvel movies. Here, you kind of have to reintroduce them into this movie because kids who are watching this might be aware of the other Spider-Men, but they don't really know them. But for me, all I really need this to be is to be entertaining. I want this to just capture the essence of Spider-Man. That's all I really want. I think Homecoming did a really good job of making it a high school Peter Parker story. What it does a really good job of focusing on is the cute little drama that Peter Parker would experience in high school, that teen angst. Far From Home, I just didn't really enjoy the whole going to Europe thing. When they leaned into the Peter Parker complex of the things that he feels bad about and his guilt complex, like I really enjoyed that stuff. And Jake Gyllenhaal being a father figure to Peter Parker. I just hope that we end strong with this being a real Spider-Man story that really focuses on Peter Parker, even though Doctor Strange is a part of this. I hope he doesn't have a giant role to play here, like how Tony Stark kind of felt like he did in the first movie, Homecoming. I want this to be a Peter Parker story. Into the Spider-Verse did such a great job of making it a quintessential Miles Morales story, while also telling a great multi-generational story of just really capturing the essence of what it means to be Spider-Man. With having all these crazy, wacky characters and the animation doing like just super flexing on all animated departments and just how awesome it looked visually. At the end of the day, it was just a great Spider-Man movie, and I would like to have that from this, and not have it be like a weird mishmash of 1,000 different things that feels like a mess. This is probably going to be a chaotic mess. I mentioned it before, but I feel like there are so many people that are just ready to criticize this movie. I feel like there are so many people who are just ready to throw the hammer down because they already are going in with expectations of, oh, I'm not going to like this. But that goes with any movie, like any of these big movies. People are going in already ready to love it or hate it. So you're going to get just as much praise as you're going to get just absolute disdain. So, and I'm trying to ignore all that. Like, I'm just going in for me. And for me, I just want an entertaining movie that captures the essence of the character. And that's really all I need. And then having that privilege and the pleasure of being able to see characters that I fell in love with years and years ago, possibly again, it's just a cherry on top. It's just hot fudge and whipped cream for me on that ice cream, personally. But now I want to know from all of you, what are you thinking about Spider-Man No Way Home? Do you have your own predictions? Anything I didn't touch on, do you want to enlighten me on when it comes to certain characters, maybe certain action set pieces? If you're somebody who just wants to be a fly on the wall, observing anybody who's interested in watching this, like, what's your thoughts on this? And that's really it. Next week, I'll be reviewing Spider-Man No Way Home, and I'll probably do it in one video. I'm not sure yet where I'll do either like spoiler-free for half of it and then spoilers for the other half. I'll figure it out next week because it's been really busy from Christmas and all that. But yeah, thank you for watching. If you're still here, appreciate the support. If you haven't already, you could like and subscribe and ring that bell because apparently that all helps. And then especially commenting down below, that also helps. Let's get a fun conversation going. And yeah, have a safe week. Be safe. We're halfway through December already. I feel like time is just a construct and we're just flying through. It's 2022 in a few weeks. What? Anyway, yeah. I love all of you. Thank you again for watching, and I'll see you next time. Take care.